To a Nerds podcast. All things nerds, music, horror movies, pro wrestling, video games, anything nerds would like.
Once again, back with another Nerds podcast. Today I have a very special guest. I'm happy to have this person. Name is Cordis. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Now, my podcast is called Nerds Podcast. It's basically, wrestling, comic books, cartoons, video games, everything nerds like, everything. You don't have to be a nerd to like it, but if maybe nerds vacate to it. And I really appreciate you doing this. I'm very grateful. I'm always grateful for anyone who allows me to talk for them for any amount of time. So I'm going to say out the back, thank you again for doing this, just taking time out of your day to do this.
And then I'm glad to do it,
That's cool. Now, you are a pro wrestler, right?
Yes.
Cool. Now, were you a fan as a kid? And if you were, what era of wrestling was the era that you watched?
So I was a fan, I have family in wrestling, but they're all, stars in Mexico and stuff like that. So
Okay.
I was always, attached to it, but I really started watching around, the Attitude Era, the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, The Brood. I was actually, right before we did this, I was watching an old Sunday Night Heat with The Brood versus the Hardys. And, that's the stuff that I grew up on. Those are the guys that I loved.
That's cool. That's all right now. Now, who was the people as a kid? Who was your favorite ones to look forward to seeing when they came on the screen?
It was Jeff Hardy, for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. Now, did you like the high flying? Did you like his character development? What was the thing that stood out for you, particularly for you?
His high flying and his style, literally just how he looked. He just looked so different and cool. Even alongside Matt and Lita, he always stood out a little bit more to me than they did. Okay.
That's cool. Now, as you got older, what particular Attitude Era, was that still close to the same time as WCW? Did you ever see WCW?
Yeah, I watched WCW. I watched a little bit of ECW, but it was mostly a WWF kid.
That's cool. Now, as you get older, when wrestling more impacted you, where you can start appreciating storylines and stuff. And you don't got to tell me a particular storyline, but did something that grasp your attention as a younger, older adult, more like in teens?
I think it was just in general Edge's whole heel turn. I know he'd been a heel every now and then, but when he actually just became the rated R superstar, from that point on, just everything he did always captivated me. He was always fun to watch, and he's one of my favorites ever since. And I think it all started right there. And look at him now; he's still going.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's still in the game. He's a guy who surpassed even that life threatening or his injury that put a lot of people on the shelf, and then he manages to get back in the game again. It's pretty cool. I give him props to the fact that he can get back in there.
Yeah, I'm so happy he's back. When he made, I didn't know that some people knew he was supposed to come back or something, but I legitimately was with friends when that happened, and I got a little emotional because that was really cool to see him back.
Yeah. Now, you said you have family in wrestling. Is that part of AAA wrestling?
AAA, CMLL, they've been all over the place, Psycho Clown, Super Porky, just that whole family.
Okay, that's cool. Now, as before you started even making your journey to wrestling, did you have any sports you did in high school?
I played a little bit of tennis and a little bit of baseball. Baseball wasn't in high school though, or I was in high school, but I wasn't playing for my high school team or whatever. I was playing at another an organization outside of the school.
Okay, that's cool. Now, when you decided you want to become a pro wrestler, what school trained you?
So I didn't do the traditional like schools.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to local wrestling shows here, and there was a guy that said, "Hey, I have a gym that wrestlers train at. If you want to come and just check it out and see if it's something you want to do." So I went over there, and I met his name was Virus, Jerry Reyes, and he was a guy that helped train people like ACH.
Okay.
And so I worked with him, and he's the one that originally trained me, and then I trained with Mad Dog Ken Johnson, who's had a hand with people like he helped train Shawn Michaels. I mean, Rodney Mack. Like, there's just so many people that he's had a hand in, helping. So.
Okay. So I'm assuming he's kind of an old school kind of trainer. Did he, particularly him, was he a rough kind of trainer? I'm not saying like mean, but aggressive, trying to like see if you had what it takes to become a pro wrestler. How was his training for you?
He was actually very, very patient. I mean, he was never like rough, but he was stern. Like he had us do it over and over and over until we got it. And he was always a very big component of what's old is new. Mm-hmm. So a lot of this, like, I'm a smaller dude, but a lot of my style is very ground based, mat based, and that just comes from from Virus and from Ken Johnson. Just that's the style I learned. I never trained with someone that was like, hey, do these Hurricane Ranas, do these moonsaults, do all this. I was trained. I wasn't trained in that style. I can do it.
Yeah.
But my basics and everything came from people who didn't work that style.
Yeah.
But that's how it was. With Ken Johnson, he was very he was stern but he made sure you got it. But there was never a time where I felt like he's taking advantage of us or anything. Like, I loved every moment of training with them.
That's cool. Now, like, I just said about the training. What particular like drills that like any of your trainers when you were on the mat? Like, let me ask you first. Like, before I say that, how did it feel to take your first bump? I should ask you that first.
It felt awful.
It
just knocked the wind out of me, and I remember the next day after taking a couple bumps, like, my sides hurt. Mm-hmm. I think my kidneys were killing me. I don't know. It was awful. And I thought about not going back, but I was like, no, I'm having fun.
That's cool. I like that. Like, I was curious about it because I attempted it once, and like I was younger, and it was a gym not too far away, and that's the first time I heard a bump. And then I took it, and I just realized, yeah, I'm not built for this. So I commend anyone who can do it, who can stick with it. So that's pretty cool. Now, with the drills, what particular type of drills did they have you doing?
It was quite a while back, but we used to do, like, we'd run the ropes a certain number of times. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, we'd be learning how to. Mm-hmm. Basic drop-down leapfrogs, just agility drills.
Yeah.
Just things like that. And then, of course, just like the workouts, push-ups, squats, mountain climbers, burpees, just all of that. Mm-hmm. Just get our conditioning up. As far as drills went, it was just basic stuff. But I mean, people forget the basics more than anything. So it was, that's what it was. And then we would, if we wanted to work on something else, we'd do like arm drag drills. And the thing about it was that we would just do the drills, and we would do them for quite a while. But at the end of the night, what you worked on, it was ingrained into your head. Like, okay. Yeah, that's basically it. Nothing overly complicated. Just the basics. But those are so important that it mattered.
And then this is a silly question. I don't know. Maybe that'd be a silly question. But like, did you have a thing called promo class when you were there?
Actually, no. That's one thing that, I mean, they told us, they gave us pointers and stuff, but at least where I was, I never really cut a promo in front of my trainers and stuff. Yeah. And that's just something that I kind of picked up as I went along. But that was one thing that I know some schools teach, or most schools teach.
It's probably more now than it probably was then.
Yeah, or at least where I was trained, I did. That's one thing that I can say is we didn't really do promo classes. We were taught the basics and like how we should go about things, but all these like, so I see people standing in front of the class doing promos. I never went through anything like that.
Okay. Like, but when you started doing your promos or whatever, how you constructed them in the beginning, how did you feel about doing them? Did you feel comfortable doing them in the beginning? Because I'm sure it changed now, but in the beginning, did it feel weird doing them?
It did, because I'm pretty shy as a person. So wrestling was fine. I could wrestle in front of a crowd, but when I grabbed the microphone, I got nervous, and I would stutter over my words. But that was, that was just me being nervous and being shy. Now I can say I'm pretty confident, and I'm still a shy person.
Yeah.
Like someone I never met, I'm still a pretty shy person. But when it comes to wrestling, everything, I kind of try to drown it out, or I kind of, they say you flip a switch. I have to flip that switch and realize I'm not, I'm a wrestler right now. I have to do this, and that makes it a whole lot easier. But I'm not going to lie and say that I got it right away. It took some time to get comfortable doing promos.
That's cool. Now, what particular territory or what promotion do you work at now, if you have one?
I'm in Texas, and I've been working a lot with Heavy Metal Wrestling, Atlas Wrestling Promotions, Texas Wrestling Association, just a lot of like Southern and just all over Texas, honestly.
Okay.
But like my main promotions would be like Heavy Metal Wrestling, Atlas Wrestling Promotions, Texas Wrestling Association. Those are the three that most people can catch me at pretty regularly.
Okay. Now, when y'all do advertisement, do you do a lot of the promotions for them, or is it anyone particular that does it, like the owners, or who does the mainly promotions for the particular like?
It's a very social media based thing now with a lot of promotions. So everyone just kind of does their part. Like a promotion or a promoter will put out a flyer, and we just do our best to share it and get it to as many eyes as possible. And there's still, don't get me wrong, like a lot of people still do physical flyers, and like if it's in town, like where I'm living, and they do it, then yeah, I'll drive around, I'll put up flyers, hand them to people. But other than that, it's a very social media based game at this point.
That's cool though. I like that though. Now, how did it feel your first time out as getting on the mat for the first time as in any promotion when you start at? Like when you became a wrestler when you first got on the mat, but like when you got a chance to actually hone your craft in a ring in front of like whatever size audience, how did that feel?
It felt pretty good. Like it felt like all the hard work that I've been doing is finally starting to pay off. And the first time it's definitely a lot different than what you think it's gonna be. Like you have these like, oh, this is gonna be cool. The crowd's gonna do this. The crowd's gonna do that. And then it never goes the way that you plan it. Yeah. But sometimes that's for the best.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and I've been doing it for almost what do we got? Almost 15 years at this point.
That's cool.
So, if I didn't love it, I definitely wouldn't be here still.
Yeah, true. Now, I'm not going to ask you if you are a babyface or heel. I'm just going to ask you like this: what do you prefer, being a babyface or a heel?
I like being a heel because I like pissing people off, and I think I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But there's moments when being a babyface is totally worth it. People want to come up and buy all your merch.
Yeah,
but I definitely like pissing people off.
Oh yeah. Now, what do you think about the landscape of heels now? Now, I'll give you an example. Like more heel. There's rarely any heels, I would say, except for MJF. Even though people don't necessarily really I don't think anyone's ever tried to swing at him except for the other week, the recently Wednesday. Someone tried to get in the ring and try to take a swing at him, and Chris Jericho popped him. I think he stopped it from happening. But what do you think about like the real heels? Because you are from the Attitude Era, so they still try to take a swing at people. Do you feel like, are you a heel? I don't want you to get punched in the face. I'm not advocating, but are you a type of heel that exudes enough where people want to try to take a swing at you?
It really depends on the crowd. Like some crowds, they understand it's entertainment.
Yeah.
I shouldn't try to take anything too personal. But there's also been shows where whether it's like alcohol involved or just take it too personal. I've had a couple of shows where I've had a fan try to like meet me after the show or something like that. I've done Lucha Libre style shows where I'm out of the ring and a fan tries to grab me, and it's stuff like that. Like I think it just kind of depends on the audience.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if I can get somebody that upset, I'm doing my job.
That's cool, though.
And I'm not worried. I know I can defend myself.
Yeah, that's cool. Because, like, I don't think, and I think it's because of social media as well, but I also think it's because the generations are not the same generation of people when kayfabe was a thing, because I don't think kayfabe does exist. If it does, it exists in smaller territories that don't really get much traction on television. But it's always curious when, like, when someone is so mad, and like I'm never advocating anyone to basically take a swing, because if you stupid enough to get in that ring to take a swing at everyone, you best believe you're gonna get your ass whooped.
Oh yeah.
And like I don't advocate that, but it's always still kind of interesting to see the dynamics or whatever. Now, your family is. And I'm gonna say AAA, but I know it's different promotions. Do you think when you growing up, did you see a difference in that style of wrestling opposed to, I'm gonna say WWE? Did you see a difference in it?
Oh yeah, that's Lucha Libre against American style, and it's two completely different things. So it definitely was. I gravitated more towards American style. But Lucha Libre was always, it's always really fun to watch. You don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's just exciting. It's like a car crash in the best possible way.
Yeah, I can see that. A lot of it, WCW had a lot of luchadors. They showcase luchador wrestlers more than anyone that I can think of. It did. Maybe you can say ECW did, but they were a bigger stage. Now, as storylines throughout wrestling, who do you think, and I know you said you're a fan of WWE, but you can mention anyone else. You can mention your own territory. Who do you think is better at storytelling? And you could just name any promotion that you feel is really good at storytelling. You can say any era too, doesn't matter.
Who's good at storytelling? Dang, that's a hard one.
I know it's a little vague when I ask you though, but
let me think. Not so much now, but WWE used to get me with some storylines back in the day. AEW, I've gotten interested in this whole thing with Darby Allin and Sting.
Yeah.
I really do want to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Like a lot of local promotions, just anywhere, just independent promotions. It's very rare that there's a ton of overarching stories, and I haven't really been around too many promotions outside of the ones that I usually wrestle at that have too many long-term stories. Atlas Wrestling Promotion, where I do wrestle pretty regularly, they do have ongoing stories, and it's fun to watch and it's fun to be a part of, because the towns they run in is a small town, so they don't really have a lot of stuff to do. So when a wrestling show comes into town, the crowd's there and they're invested, and it's fun to see that many people invested.
That's
so
cool.
On a local level, I would say Atlas Wrestling Promotion is pretty good at storytelling.
That's cool. Yeah, there was no wrong answer to that question because it was up in the air because it's to each his own. I mean, if you are captivated by whatever thing you're watching, and you care about it enough that you want to see the conclusion of it, that's all that matters. So that was more of a vague question. I expected any answer would have been the right answer. There would have been no wrong answer. Now, what is like I'm gonna try to think. What was the I would say there's no wrong answer to this one. What was in the last, I would say, 5 years now? What is like? Give me a few matches that stood out for you, and you can see. I mean, you said WWE, but if you had some matches that you saw in your promotion, do you have a few matches that you saw that were just amazing matches that stood out?
Let's see. I've actually seen quite a few. Kurt Stallion and ACH here at Heavy Metal Wrestling was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Kurt's, and unfortunately Kurt, he was released recently, but that was his final match before he went to WWE.
Okay.
That was amazing. Let's see.
There's no wrong answer.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few great ones, so I'm just trying to think right now. Again, from a local promotion, from Heavy Metal Wrestling, Great Scott and Aaron Mercer, and those guys are just they're going to blow up soon enough, and I can't wait to see that for both of them. That match was amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool though. I like that. Now, I like to ask fantasy questions, and it always pertains to wrestling. And I think I'm gonna add 2 other ones in this kind of like story arc thing I like to do. It's pretty fun. The first 2 are usually the basic ones I like to ask. And the first one I'm gonna ask you is basically, let's say hypothetically you have a stable of wrestlers, and I always say like the Survivor Series because that's always cool because they always have 5 wrestlers. It's 4, and you usually have a ring leader, and you're the general. In a Survivor Series kind of type of scenario, like your stable, who would you like to have in your stable? You can name anyone you want. You can name people from your camps, but if you name from camp, you gotta tell me why. And you're the ring leader. Who would you like to have in your stable? 4 people, 5 adding you.
Honestly, if it was fantasy, I'd have the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian.
Cool. That's a cool team right there. You got it.
Yeah.
Now, as like for your WrestleMania moment, because we gotta say WrestleMania moment, and you're going for the championship, heavyweight championship. You can pick anyone living or dead to have that person as the wrestler you want to. Your WrestleMania moment. Who would you like to have the wrestler you would go against?
It would have been Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You can't beat that. That's pretty cool. Now, I thought of a new question to ask, because it's always fun to ask wrestlers questions, as in fantasy questions and whatnot. Is if you were like the, I'm gonna say, the Vince McMahon of promotions. You owned your own promotion and you're starting out. And I'm going to say, this is a time machine. You can get in a time machine. You can go back and you can collect wrestlers. I'm going to give you top 5 wrestlers that you can pick from any era. You can pick them from any era. And that'll be the first stable of wrestlers to be in your camp to make your camp viable. Who would you have in your camp?
Top 5?
Yeah.
Let's see. Eddie Guerrero.
Right, 1.
Jeff Hardy.
2.
Let's see. Dang, I always have these thoughts, and then when I'm trying to actually think of it, they don't come to me.
Yeah.
Three more. The Rock.
Cool.
Shawn Michaels.
Cool.
Trish Stratus.
I like that. It's a cool team right there. I like that. That would be a great team to have to start out. And you have, superstars that are just, they will elevate your camp for sure. Now, I want to say this first of all. I want to really appreciate you doing this again. I can't help thank you so much. But is there anything you want to promote to get out there right now, or a shout out or anything?
Just I guess there's not too much going on right now, but I just my Twitter, my Twitter and my Instagram are the same thing.
Okay.
And it's just at Corvice, Corvice, and a little underscore. But that's pretty much it. I mean, anything that I do of any note ends up on there.
Okay. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, if you're not busy later on, we can do this again because it's really fun. And I just want to talk to you about wrestling when I get back around and, when you're not busy. Because I think that'd be really cool to just, hear your opinions on different, styles and promotions and just character development and whatnot. I really appreciate it.
I would love to do it again. This is fun. This was actually really, really fun.
Cool. I like it, man. Man, I hope you have a good rest of your day and your weekend, too.
You too, man. Thank you so much.
All right, man. See you. That was Corvice. He was an amazing person that I got a chance to interview, and I'm very grateful, and hopefully down the line I will get to talk to him again. So for right now, I'll be signing out, and hopefully we'll come again with another podcast episode. See you.